Hi, everyone, and welcome. It is a new season of Bison football for 2016, and back in the tailgating lots once again for the Bison pregame show, along with the esteemed Eric Peterson and noted author Jeff Kolpack. I am merely Dom Izzo. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. A new season is here of Bison football. I don't even know if we're allowed to be in the same presence with him with his book here. He's got droves of people that are around waiting to sign it. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. And even a special delivery of the belt by my dad. My dad making an appearance on the pregame show.
Well, the Izzo dynasty is alive and well, and it hijacked the belt in the offseason. But, Kolpack has the book. We still got to, bring the belt out just to knock him down to size a little bit.
Understood. We got the belt, we got the book, a new year is ready to rock and roll.
Well, I need you to sign the belt, though, because, that's the thing to do these days, apparently.
Well, I'm not high up there as you are, Kolpack. I'm not celebrity status yet.
Well, here we are, gentlemen. 2016 kicks off in about 3 hours' time, just to the left of us, as the Bison will raise another championship banner and then kick off what many are expecting, Jeff, is another tremendous season that may end in January again.
Well, they have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, and when you talk about pieces of the puzzle, I think you got to start with defense, because defense wins championships. How many times have we said that on this pregame show over the years? Well, 5 times. That's all I'll tell you how many times. And you start with the front 7. I think Nate Tangway is poised for an All-American year. I think he'll get drafted in 2 years, too. That's how good it is. And, of course, it starts with Nick DeLuca, the middle linebacker.
Big E, all the talk, obviously, that dominated this town for at least 3 months was on Carson Wentz. He is now gone with the Philadelphia Eagles. It is truly Easton Stick's team and Easton Stick's time, and it starts tonight.
At the time when Carson Wentz got hurt last year and the team's 4-2, you thought it was like the worst thing that happened to the program. Now that they went to Frisco last year, won the championship, it's probably the best thing that could have happened, because now Easton Stick has 8 games under his belt, 8-0 as a starter, so he's less of a question mark coming into this. He's played in playoff-type atmospheres. He's played in big-game atmospheres, so that should help him a lot under center starting this season.
We got a great show coming up for you for the next half hour live on WDAY.com. We'll be joined by the commissioner of the Big South Conference, Kyle Colander. His Charleston Southern Buccaneers are here. They're the defending champions of the league. They have taken the torch, Jeffrey, from Coastal Carolina, who's moving on to the Sun Belt, and now they've become the it team of the Big South.
0-11 in 2011. It goes to show you, and NDSU proved this, you get a coach that can recruit good players, and you can change it around in a hurry, and they've certainly done that.
We'll also be joined by Andy Hall, former Delaware quarterback, who transferred from Georgia Tech to play for the Fighting Blue Hens. He also was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, so he's got a unique connection to North Dakota State. That's all coming up over the next half hour. Let's start here with our initial storylines for this game, and I think it starts right under center, gentlemen, for the Bison. 2-year starter Austin Coonert will not play tonight, nor in 2 weeks against Eastern Washington, suspended by the NCAA for academic violations. How big a deal is this without Coonert in the lineup tonight?
Huge deal, because last year the one game the Bison lost when Coonert was out was South Dakota. And so you just can't understate the relationship between the center and the quarterback. It has to start somewhere, and the center and the quarterback is where every play starts. Now, he's got to recognize some different alignments that's going to be thrown at him, because at Charleston Southern, they just don't line up in the same way every time. They're going to be doing a lot of different stuff, and they're going to try to confuse the young man.
The man who's replacing Coonert is a former 9-man player, Big E. He last started against a team that was nicknamed the Woodchucks, and that's Tanner Volson, who's moving up from North Dakota 9-man now to the big stage and playing on ESPN tonight.
Well, like Kolpack said last year when Coonert was out, they had some trouble up front. I guess what helps Volson and the up front crew is they've probably known about this throughout fall camp, so they've had weeks to prepare. When Coonert got hurt during the regular season, it's a quick turnaround. You got to groom somebody. But a 3-3-5 team or 3-4, whatever they run, everyone's multiple these days. Nobody's in one set thing. It's going to be kind of solving a puzzle where the blitzes are coming.
They will not be 5 back. There's no way. You can't handle a running game.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can call someone a defensive back, but if they're 6'2", 230 pounds, it doesn't matter. It's just nomenclature. They're going to have they're going to have some big guys up front. They're going to bring blitzes from all over. I think they're going to show multiple alignments, and like you said, Tanner Volson's going to have to help solve that puzzle.
I guarantee you, nomenclature is not in the book.
I was about to say, is that in Horns Up?
No, it's not. That's too big for me.
It may not be the sexy topic, but we're talking offensive linemen because there's another huge spot that'll be filled by a new player. That's left tackle. Joe Haig is gone. He's playing tonight for the Indianapolis Colts against Carson Wentz's Philadelphia Eagles. Colin Connor is the new man at left tackle.
You talk about big shoes. You got Billy Turner Turner, who manned that spot for 3.5 years, and then Joe Haig took over from there. A couple draft picks playing in the NFL. No pressure, Colin. All right, no pressure.
But I think the young Zach Johnson's also going to see time in the mix. Tackle. Yep. Tanner Volson might see some rotation time at center. So I think some of those young guys, they're going to help him by maybe cutting down the reps a little bit, so it's just not a mental strain the whole game. So I think you'll see young Zach Johnson at left tackle too, along with Colin Connor.
Biggie, the other position we talked about throughout spring, throughout fall camp is corner. Jalen Winbush was the last man standing. He earned the starting spot, so he will start opposite Jalen Allison at that other cornerback spot tonight.
And like Coach Chris Kleiman said earlier in the week, it's sometimes you worry more about a team that passes more selectively because you got to stay focused. You know, they might run the option plays 6-7 times in a row and then pop a big pass. As a young corner, you have to stay focused in on that and not let somebody get behind you and prevent the big play.
You look at this team and what they have set up for them, and we talk about all the new guys, the guys that are all back, and including at the skill positions, this is a team that could score and a lot of points, I believe, this season.
Well, let's just start at running back.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to get the ball is my question. I think Bruce Anderson's going to get the lion's share. I think he's poised for a big year. You got King Frazier. He'll be steady. He's a senior. He's the guy that between the tackles you certainly can go to. But where's Chase Morlock going to be on the field? Tim Pausick told us this morning that, five different spots?
You called him the Swiss Army knife. I think that's probably the best nickname for him.
Well, I think he's going to be like an Andrew Bonnet role. He'll be that H-back, that motion fullback, have Brock Robbins play that Jed Resear role. You know, maybe Chase Morlock's in the slot, tight end. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's versatile, so there's just not enough time to line up all those guys at running back. So I think to get Chase Morlock on the field, he's going to have to play some different roles this season.
It's going to be a fabulous game tonight. We're off and rolling here on the Bison pregame show. We come back live from tailgating. We'll be joined by the commissioner of the Big South Conference, Kyle Calander, will join us. You're watching live from the Fargodome. It's the Bison pregame show. Back right after this.
The news at 9, starting Monday on WDAY's Extra. It's the latest addition to our expanding news coverage. Your money, your health, stories that focus on you. Fast-paced, interactive, local weather, social media. Your free time, your family time, your fun time. Something extra from your news leader. The news at 9, starting Monday on WDAY's Extra.
Catch Ag Week TV every weekend. Ag News expert Shauna Olson, trusted meteorologist John Wheeler, and the expertise of the entire Ag Week staff will bring you the latest in ag news, lifestyle, experts, tech, and trends.
If it's important news to you, it's important news to us at Ag Week TV.
Ag Week TV, delivering the complete ag picture every weekend.
If you love the outdoors, you need to check out Northland Outdoors magazine. Printed quarterly, Northland Outdoors is the premier publication for outdoors insight and imagery. Outdoor lovers across the Northland have embraced the in-depth stories and incredible photographs. And best of all, it's free. Go to northlandoutdoors.com and click magazine. Northland Outdoors, amazing people, incredible stories, exciting adventures.
Welcome back, everybody, live to the Bison pregame show. I can't tell you folks watching what it's like to sit next to a true superstar who gets besieged by autograph seekers even in between commercial breaks. Can you tear yourself away for 20 minutes here?
That's never happened ever. I feel like I'm dreaming. Come on. Who wants my autograph?
We're pleased to be joined by the commissioner of the Big South Conference, Mr. Kyle Calander, who's back in Fargo. He was here with Coastal Carolina in 2013 and 2014. Now back again, national television for your Charleston Southern Buccaneers. This got to be, the exposure's got to be worth its weight in gold.
Well, it really is. First of all, it's great to be here. I mean, the Bison know how to party. I mean, this is just unbelievable. I don't know if there's anybody left in the state. They're all right here at the Fargodome. You know, we're 0 for 2 in the Fargodome, so, you know, we're ready to try to turn that around, but CSU's got a huge task ahead of them. There's no question about it. But, yeah, it's great. It's a great opportunity for the Big South Conference. I think it says a lot about what our institutions have done, what our teams have done to really build their programs, and certainly for Charleston Southern and the job they've done, especially over the last 3 years under Jamie Chadwell.
Let's talk about that. What has Coach Jamie Chadwell done, you know, to turn this program around?
Well, he's brought a philosophy, certainly, and a a system that has been proven to be very successful. But more than anything, he's brought a belief and a belief system that has really rubbed off on his team, on the administration, and everything they're doing down there. So not only do they execute well and they play great football, but they really believe that they can win. And that was something that in the past just wasn't there at Charleston Southern.
You look at where they were 2011 when they did not win a game, and you probably wouldn't say this is the most attractive team in your league. How surprised were you to see here they are on national television here tonight?
Well, it is a little surprising, just the rapid rise that they've had. Yeah. They've had some successful seasons in the past. They haven't been able to sustain it all the time. So we knew that they could do it, but to have it go from 0-11, 3 years ago to conference champions last year, and now in the top 10 preseason rankings this year really is phenomenal.
First of all, I got some advice. He wants to be the Big South commissioner. He's been one of your biggest boosters over the years. So
I think the teams that
watch your back.
Give me 5 more years. Give me 5 more years.
Watch your back a little bit. But your league, how have you been? You need to develop, I think, a little more depth within the league. How do you do that?
Right. Well, it's something we're constantly taking a look at. So we have 6 members this year, which is right at the number that you need for an automatic bid in the FCS playoffs. So we do need to grow the membership. So we're always talking to other institutions, keeping our eye on what's happening in the FCS landscape, because you never really know what's going to happen there. And also trying to think about some creative ways to collaborate and do some things with our membership. So we're excited about some of those ideas and some of those possibilities. So we think that even though we're at 6 now, we'll be growing in the near future.
Sometimes, and I've heard this during realignment, that the commissioners are the last people to know about a school moving. How much were you in conversation? Did you hear this, or did you hear about it from people like us in the media that Coastal Carolina was going?
Well, fortunately, a lot of commissioners do have good relationships, and so Carl Benson and I have been friends for a long time, and he was very honest and upfront about their interest with Coastal Carolina from the very beginning. So I was aware of what was going on, and we look at it as it's really a compliment to the Big South Conference that an FBS league would be interested in one of our programs. That says a lot about our football, a lot about our schools, a lot about our programs. So you hate to lose somebody, but certainly that's a compliment.
Cost of attendance was really a big item in the news last year. What is your stance as a commissioner of the Big South on cost of attendance?
Well, interestingly, we went through a strategic planning process. It was really coinciding with the approval of the cost of attendance increase for scholarships, and our strategic plan actually prioritizes basketball because we believe for a conference like the Big South Conference to be successful nationally in men's basketball will bring you more exposure, more recognition, more reputational equity than really anything. And so we prioritize basketball, and we were going through that process when they approved cost of attendance, so we went ahead and committed to it as a league for men's and women's basketball. On the football side, it's up to the institution. So we do have some that are doing it. Liberty is committed to doing it, and others are probably piecemeal a little bit here and there. So I think it's a great thing for student athletes, but it's got to be optional for the institutions because some certainly can't afford it, just too much.
For your league, how much do you need a team to make a deep run, like Coastal did a couple years ago to make the quarterfinals, to have a team go, make the semifinals, threaten a chance to go to Frisco, to maybe put your league even more so on the map?
Well, we started football 15 years ago in the Big South Conference, so fairly recently. And we went a long time before we had an automatic bid. We went 10 years or so, and we didn't even have 6 members. And it was really frustrating because we weren't very well respected at that point in time because we didn't have teams in the playoffs. People looked at us as the new kids on the block. You weren't getting that respect. Finally, when we got that automatic bid and got into the playoffs, we started winning games. And that's what built the respect for our football program. So we have to continue that. So to answer your question directly, yes, it's important for us nationally to get that respect because that's really the only way you do it is by being successful in the playoffs.
Scheduling. You're here. It's great to see you. It's great to see Charleston Southern here. It's great to see new opponents. I mean, you talk to any fan here, it's like, wow, this is great.
Absolutely.
What's your league's stance? Are you pushing more of these type of games?
Well, we love to have these kind of games. This kind of travel is a challenge, from just a logistical standpoint, a financial standpoint sometimes. But we love to have intersectional, interregional games on our schedule. And being involved in FCS nationally, I think that's really important for us, for our brand of football. So we love to see that. I know that North Dakota State, obviously enjoys bringing people in to play at home, but they've also committed to go on the road a little bit.
Home and homes.
So I think they've got, is it was it Delaware that did a deal with?
Delaware,
I think I saw. So, these are really important. It's really good for FCS football because it attracts a lot of attention.
Before we let go, I can speak for Kolpack. We will gladly take a home and home in Charleston, South Carolina.
In November.
Or we'll go to Liberty. We'll go anywhere on that part of the country.
We'll take you up on that.
We really appreciate the time. Enjoy your time inside the Dome tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. We're looking forward to a great game.
Thanks,
That's Kyle Calander, the commissioner of the Big South Conference, giving us a few minutes here. Live outside the Dome. We roll on right back after this on the Bison pregame show, live at the Fargodome.
Every morning you wake up not knowing what lies ahead, the struggles you'll endure, the triumphs you'll embrace. But one thing we know for sure, you're going to take whatever comes at you and face it head on. Because that's just the kind of people we are, and that's why you end your day here with us.
Your news, your weather, your sports.
For your day. For all of the uncertainties you face, one thing's certain. You end your day here with us on WDAY.
If you love the outdoors, you need to check out Northland Outdoors magazine. Printed quarterly, Northland Outdoors is the premier publication for outdoors insight and imagery. Outdoor lovers across the Northland have embraced the in-depth stories and incredible photographs. And best of all, it's free. Go to northlandoutdoors.com and click magazine. Northland Outdoors. Amazing people, incredible stories, exciting adventures.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Ag Week magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Ag Week provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. Ag Week. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
Back, everybody. Bison pregame show live outside the Fargodome. Of course, the ever-popular prediction segment. The belt's already here, so I don't know what in the world.
A little surprised that came out so early.
With my dad, of all people, as well, to deliver it. That's coming up later in the show. We're really pleased to be joined by former Georgia Tech and Delaware quarterback Andy Hall, who is here wearing Bison colors. I don't know if your alums at Delaware will agree with that. What are you doing here in Fargo?
I'm actually here with some really good friends, David and Marlis Sunderland, and visiting them. And they've been tremendous hosts and ambassadors for the school and state. And we're up taking in a Bison Charleston Southern game, so we're really excited.
So NDSU and Delaware, Andy, just scheduled a home and home. Yeah. So what does NDSU, when they go out to Delaware, what do they have to look forward to?
It's a similar atmosphere.
Is it?
Delaware, the faithful there, they come out in strong support of the last year wasn't a very good year. We forget about that. You guys had a great year, so that was really good. But the atmosphere there in the tub will be electric. It'll be hopefully they'll be able to schedule more games in the future.
If people find out where you're from, the automatic comparison is going to start between your guy Joe Flacco and Carson Wentz, who the better FCS to NFL quarterback is. Describe your experience, how different it was from Georgia Tech to Delaware, and what was obviously the size of school, but what was maybe the main difference that stuck out to you?
Actually, when you mentioned the size of school, that's an interesting point, because when I was at Georgia Tech, there was about 12 or 13,000 undergrad. Yep. When I went to the University of Delaware, it was like 24, 25,000. So it was actually twice as big. As far as stadium size, at the 1AA level, they're generally smaller. I mean, 18 or 20,000 here. At Delaware, it was low 20s. I think we were in the top 5 in terms of attendance there. But, the big difference is the depth. 1AA, you generally the front 5, front 7 on each side. Right. You have big guys, but it's the depth. That's really the difference. And in terms of technology, the film study, that aspect of it, there's a noticeable difference typically.
Andy, you were a draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, Carson Wentz is a draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. Granted, a little different on the signing bonus front, I'm guessing. But what do you think Carson's going through right now?
A lot of mental adjustments, learning a new system. Obviously, with him being number 2 overall, there's a lot of pressure and everything that comes with that. With Peterson coming from the Chiefs and working with Alex Smith, I think that's a really good setup. I mean, Doug played he's a quarterback. He understands, the pressure and everything with that. So I think he's got a great mentor that hopefully won't throw him to the wolves, so to speak, before he's ready.
Right. What do you always hear? What goes through your mind when you hear about the comparisons about the FCS and the FBS and making the jump, and Wentz is going through that all right now? What was the biggest thing you noticed from, you mentioned school size and actually playing you're at a bigger school, but what was the biggest notice and difference between the FCS and FBS and just in terms of playing for you?
In the playing side of it, there's more great players, at the straight Division I level. On an average team, you may have 8 great players, whereas 1AA you have 3 or 4 really good players. So there's more really, really good players across the board in the depth. Whenever they substitute, the next guy in is at that level is not a big drop off. At this level, if one of your good guys get hurt, generally speaking, the substitute's not as good. Now, I understand you guys have tremendous depth here, and that's what I've heard. So that's a huge advantage.
So what do you think? What do you think of this FCS atmosphere?
No doubt, it's one of the best in the country. Probably the best. To win 5 in a row, obviously it's unprecedented. It says a lot about the administration and the support here. You can tell that the atmosphere here is electric. Everyone's excited. Everyone wants to be a Bison. So hey.
What have you heard about the atmosphere inside or watching on television? What have you heard, and what are you most excited about checking out tonight?
Well, I heard that they have new Jumbotrons that are coming out tonight. So
we haven't even seen him yet.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that. And it's going to be interesting to see the noise level because generally most 1AA schools are outside. Very few do you go in that actually have a dome. So to go inside with a seasoned crowd who knows how to intimidate opposing teams that are coming in, I'm interested to see the atmosphere here.
Has the level of play changed over the years from when you were the quarterback of a national championship team to these national championship teams? How has it changed, if at all?
I think, you really see it, and NDSU is a great example of that, beating Kansas State, some of the other Big 10, Big 12 major conference teams where the upper echelon Division 1AA can play with and beat, a lot of the really big schools. So I think that as players realize if they're not going to get a chance at Division I, if they're stuck in the depth chart and they transfer to smaller schools just so they can get seen, I think you really see that, and that's elevating it across the board.
Right. I got to ask you before I let we go. We interviewed Mac Brown yesterday, former coach at Texas. He said, NDSU, stay where you're at. You're dominant at this level. Maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You've seen some old rivals, App State, Georgia Southern have moved up. If anyone were to come to see you, what about Delaware? What about NDSU? What would you say about them about possibly moving up to the top division?
I would say be a bigger fish in the small pond, because what you don't want to have is you go up and you're at a lower echelon,
especially financially.
Because now all of a sudden nobody wants to come and play because you're 2-8 every year, or 2-10. To win 5 in a row, and then how many did they win in Division II?
We really appreciate you coming
6
by.
or 7, something like that.
Thanks for coming by and doing this. Enjoy your first time inside the Dome tonight.
I'm excited.
Thanks, Andy.
Andy Hall, former Delaware quarterback and Georgia Tech player, joining us here on the Bison pregame show. When we come back, the moment everyone's been waiting for, Big E and Kolpack's prediction, and maybe we'll read a little bit out of Horns Up. That's next when we wrap things up on the Bison pregame show, live outside the Dome.
WDAY TV and radio have once again been recognized by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association for excellence in broadcasting. These awards show the daily commitment of the people at WDAY. They are the backbone of what makes WDAY the news leader. Every day they bring the best stories, broadcasts, and specials on TV and radio. Fair, accurate coverage of our communities, award-winning news, weather, sports. The news leader, WDAY 6 News.
Catch Ag Week TV every weekend. Ag News expert Shauna Olson, trusted meteorologist John Wheeler, and the expertise of the entire Ag Week staff will bring you the latest in ag news, lifestyle, experts, tech, and trends.
If it's important news to you, it's important news to us at Ag Week TV.
Ag Week TV, delivering the complete ag picture every weekend.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment of the Bison pregame show live outside the Fargodome. In case you missed any of this, it'll be back on our Bison Media blog site later today. You can watch it all over again and watch Big E get presented the belt from my dad, which automatically is already going in the hopper for best moments of 2016. We do want to take some time out to honor a couple of friends of ours that are going to be remembered tonight. Obviously, there's going to be a great tribute to our friend and colleague, Scotty Miller, before the game, who, of course, passed away in late February. From what we're hearing, it's going to be fabulous. That'll happen about 5 minutes before the game, so make sure you're in your seats for that. And also, a word about the great Jim Sullivan, who passed away a couple days ago from the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier, who did an unbelievable job covering Northern Iowa football for many, many, many years. Sully was a guest in our show just a couple years ago when we were last in Cedar Falls.
Still hurts with Scotty, doesn't it? I mean, no time doubt. Really, I don't know if it's healed a little bit, but yeah, the void is certainly missed with him. I mean, so many times over the years, it's just, so remarkable. And Sully, when I first started covering this league, he was like one of those guys I went to for advice all the time, because he covered Northern Iowa for all those years and all those Missouri Valley or Gateway titles back then, and I'm just going to miss him so much, because he just a true nice guy.
No doubt about it, Big E. Two guys who covered the league tremendously over the last 20 years.
Well, that's maybe the part the fans don't get to see. When you're at these stadiums, 2-3 hours before a game, that's what you're doing. You're talking to the beat writer from the other school, or you're talking to Scott Miller about some of his game prep, and those are just the relationships and moments that you're just going to miss when guys like that are gone.
We'll miss them. Let's talk about the game. Biggest key to you is Charleston Southern faces an environment. I know they played at Alabama, Big East school. They're going to play at Florida State in a couple weeks. They haven't faced anything they're going to face here tonight.
The reverberance, I think, is a little different inside the dome than, say, maybe in Alabama. I don't know how much Alabama fans really care when any FCS team comes there, for that matter. So the ability for Kyle Copeland, he only played in a limited number of games last year. He only threw 52 passes all year. Can he make any adjustments? Can he do the audibles? Can he handle the crowd? Because a triple option, it's a timing offense. And so if he can handle that, then I think they have a chance. I think that's the biggest factor right there, is the man under center for Charleston Southern.
What about you, Big E? Biggest key in your mind?
I think it starts with Kyle Copeland. The quarterbacks that have come here in the first time facing the atmosphere.
Not gone well.
But they're going to have to run the ball. Georgia Southern came here with that triple option, gave NDSU a great game a few years ago in the playoffs. And it's because they got 4 or 5 yards of crack, got in a second and short, third and short. Charleston Southern's going to have success running the ball in those first 2 downs, and I think that can set the stage for success for them.
And here's a key there, too, is Robbie Grimsley is strong safety. That strong safety spot is huge against an option team like Charleston Southern. Look at Colton Higo, what he did against Georgia Southern. He filled that alley to perfection. So last year, if Robbie Grimsley was a true freshman, I think they might have a better chance, but I think he's grown up a little bit.
Yeah, he's a seasoned vet by now. All right, everyone's waiting around. Prediction time. What do you got for us here today?
Well, remember the one time I had a penguin in my pocket?
I do remember that.
Well, this time I got something different.
What is this?
I got a pirate in my pocket. I think Charleston Southern's going to have to come in here and be pirate tough. But, I just don't know if they have enough to make NDSU walk the plank today. Bison 28, Buccaneers 17.
I like the pirate motif.
There goes the prop budget. Whole year.
Week 1.
Yep.
I just think the whole night is going to be a lot for them to overcome, even before I think they play it down. The emotion of this building, the banner going up. I had the stat last night, Kolpack. The last 5 home openers in this building, the Bison have outscored opponents 249-30. I've got
249 to 30.
249 to 30. I got the Bison winning big. I say 35-13.
Well, we look at this book. I actually wrote another one.
Oh!
I wrote another book.
One?
Yes, and this is due out soon. The Big E Go. We all know about the Big E. I thought I'd need to write a book on my friend. He felt a little slighted. And so since his ego is probably a little bigger than us.
Yes, maybe, slightly.
It's got pictures so he can read it and everything. And it'll be my second book due out on Amazon.com.
When is this available?
NDSU Bookstore will be selling it, and Zambro's downtown in Shields.
It'll probably sell more than this book.
Wow, there you go.
Oh, the Big Ego, the guy who has like 8 book signings so far.
So the Big Ego.
Then he's got someone fluffing him and like misting him a water out.
Hey, I got the mic here. So my score is your score because I'm going with the Big Ego. What'd you pick again?
28-17.
28-17.
Sounds good to me.
All right, folks, there you have it, our live edition of the first one of the Bison pregame show for 2016. Our live blog will begin at 6 o'clock. You can check it out on inforum.com. Complete highlights, reaction coming up following the game. And of course, don't forget the post-game show coming up following everything. Charleston Southern, North Dakota State, 6:30 on ESPN. We'll see you after the game.